you doing? We're good. Welcome. You clicked on this link and it brought you through a portal to Periwinkle Palace Arts, a little magical place of my own on the internet. Yay, you're here. I'm Princess Bun Bun, and these are my bunnies. Some of my bunnies. And we come here almost every day and do art stuff. I have something in my eye. I've had something in my eye all morning, so bear with me. Okay, first thing, we say hi to the bunnies. This is Maya. You may know her if you've been here before. She is always here supporting me. She's the sweetest little thing. Yes, she is. This is my fibromyalgia bunny. I show you. She has the fibromyalgia butterfly on her tummy. And other symbology things too. She's soft. Look at those eyes. How can you resist the face? You want to sit there? Okay. And we also have Fisticuffs. And Fisticuffs is the fight response of the 4 fear responses. You know, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And he's fight. And sometimes he has to get his aggression out when he gets scared. And this is how he does it. We go like this, and he goes, oh. And the more he fights, the more his mohawk fluffs. And when it gets really fluffy, then he's got all his stuff out, okay? He wanted to come to the desk today. You sweet thing. Okay. Today, we are going to finish this piece. We've been coloring it this week, and we're doing a little experiment. So, the first thing, things keep landing on my house. I'm pretty sure it's pine cones. If you hear a big bang, that's usually what it is. Or somebody falling out of their bed in that side of the house. That happens. Okay, so to do art, the first thing we need is something cute on our head. Today is Green Day. And let's cross our fingers. My head is not hurting very bad yet. And we also need coffee. And I've already gotten through my cup of coffee, like almost already. Look, it's halfway. We might have to go get coffee during the stream, but that's okay. It's one of my favorites. It's Stella's chocolate cherry coffee, flavored coffee. Yes. Now, if you don't have your coffee, I don't know what you're doing. Go get your coffee. I will be here. You can pause me, or you can just leave me running. I mean, I'm not running. I don't run for very many reasons. So, yeah, go get your coffee and come back. Okay, coffee's important. We got to deal with that. So, we have been working on this, and we were doing it with our Copic markers. And I only did one coat of markers, one layer of color on the whole thing mostly. Some things I needed to blend a little more, so I did a little more. But, yeah. So the reason that I only did one coat of markers is because I wanted to try a thing. Usually, when I finish marker classes, I go back over it with pencils to kind of clean up and really get the details in there. It just makes it... Bunny. I have no idea why I just did that. Okay. It makes it pop. Gives it that final touch. So I call that finishing. It's what I do after I actually get everything colored. Then I come back with usually colored pencils. I like to do colored pencils over marker. But today, look, I've been testing FineLiners for a couple of months. FineLiners and micro liner pens. And I want to try and use those instead of colored pencils to finish this. The reason is, one, I'm just curious. That's a good enough reason. But also, whenever I finish a marker page with colored pencils, I have to make a decision after that about fixative. You see, marker paper is really smooth, okay? There's no texture. So it doesn't really grab onto that pencil that you put on top of it, on top of the marker. So then I have to make a choice. Am I going to use a fixative on it to preserve the colored pencil, which sometimes doesn't look great over the marker? I don't know why. We'll get around to that. We'll get around to figuring that out, maybe someday. But also, I could choose to not use fixative, but in that case, with too much messing with the page, like even if it's in my portfolio or hanging it up, whatever, you can lose that pencil. You can lose that pigment off the top of it. So I'm curious how this would work out with ink. So a couple of things that I want to do first is try something. Okay, hang on. I need to get something. There it is. Colorless blender. What I want to do is I'm going to trim a little piece off of the bottom of this page. Just a little piece. Okay, and we're going to set this aside. I have several different types of pens. These are gel pens. I'm not going to use those yet. We might test them, we might not. I don't know. So, we're going to start with this. It's a Sharpie. And I'm going to just draw a little squiggle line. It doesn't matter what color I'm using here. And then we got one of my microns. I'm going to use the blue. These are the Sakura Pigma microns. I have a whole lot of those, and they're turning out to be one of my favorites. Shuttle art. I have several of these. I have a set of them, all in 0.3 millimeter. And then I have Copic. That's not a very visible Copic. It's super light. Let's use this pink one. Oh my goodness. Okay. Those are old ones. I got Copic here. It's black. And then I have these. These are my oldest FineLiners. They're from the brand SIPA, or SIPA, S-I-P-A. And I really liked these for a long time. They're very cheap. So that one. And then I have this Unipen fine line brush. And lastly, I have this Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Brush Pen. Just for experimenting purpose. I also have a Uniball Signo gel stick. No, I don't. It's not working. But I do have, okay, that's a Unipin one too. Alright, I think that's all the brands I have that are out right now. I had to dig through a bunch of stuff to find all of them. I think that's everything. So I've got them in order. What I'm going to do is I want to see which ones bleed or feather and which ones do not, with alcohol marker put over it. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm not going to use ink. Okay? That'll make sense. I'm going to use my colorless blender. It's exactly what the markers have in them, except it doesn't have the pigment. And this will tell me if these pens bleed, feather, or if they stay true. So we're going to let them sit here for a second, because you do want it to be dry. Any pen that you're using, you want to be dry before you put marker over it. Now, if you're asking yourself, why are we doing this? You're putting the pen over the marker. Stay tuned. We'll get to that. So I'm going to use my chisel tip for this. And I'm just going to, I'm going to put one layer on half of it, and then I'm going to saturate it on the other half. So over here, that's just one layer, okay? And now over on this side, on the other side, we're going to saturate it. So I'm going to go back and forth. Because sometimes ink can take a lot of saturation with markers or before they start to feather and bleed. But sometimes just one layer will make it feather and bleed. So we want to try both. Okay, now we're going to let that dry. And then we'll give it a second. Okay, so I dance and sing when I don't have anything to say usually. I'm not saying that I'm a singer. I'm not. I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional at anything we're doing here, okay? I'm learning right along with you. But I'm not here to teach you. I'm just here to experiment and do the art and have conversations. That's all. Please don't think that I'm a professional. If you need to learn how to do something correctly, perhaps go to another video of somebody else. If you want to learn how to do things wrong and not do those things, I might be the person for you. As I was saying, I sing and dance to music all day. Really can't survive without music. So, in order to avoid copyright issues, I can't play that in the background for you guys. But if you want to know what I'm jamming to, you can look over there. Over there. Underneath me, there's a little box. It's my Spotify mini player in a screen share. Because I'm cool like that. Alright, this is dried pretty well. So I'm going to grab these back in exactly the right order. The same order I put them on in. And let us take a look. So this one was the Sharpie. See if I can get that into the camera for you. So the gray Sharpie, it did not spread or feather or fade with just one stroke of the colorless blender. However, if you look on this other side, on this side over here, it most definitely, it spread, it feathered, and it faded. It's almost not even there. I suspect that's because Sharpies are alcohol marker based. So it kind of reacted the way a regular alcohol marker would react, if that makes sense. On the Pigma Micron, which they're coming out to be kind of my favorite fine liners, to be honest. They have a pretty wide range, both in color and in nib type. So I do not see any feathering, fading, or lightening. There's no movement of the ink with the Micron. On the shuttle art, the red, I don't see any movement of the color there either. So shuttle art's good to go. On the Copic, it looks like, and I could be wrong, but it looks like on the black one in the middle here that there's some lightning on this side of the color, but other than that, nothing. That makes sense because Copic is the same brand as the markers. This is a Copic and this is a Copic, so you would expect that to be the case. The Sipa is absolutely not alcohol marker safe. As you can see, it blurred on both sides and that ink really faded and blurred. And so we'll put that on this side. None of this makes any of the products a fail or pass here. I'm just trying to figure out which fine liners to use with alcohol markers for this specifically. These other two, I don't see any change in them at all, but I know that I don't want to use these today. I just wanted to test them. Okay, so that tells me that we can use the Sakura, the shuttle art, and the Copic fine liners for this. Pick up all these extras. You're sitting on my marker, baby. No, I'm not mad about it. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I forgot to kind of ground the image yesterday, as in like grounding it, not to its room. I don't know what I was trying to say. So, real quick, I'm going to just create a little cast shadow under here. I'm going to start with dark colors and then blend out. So E49, and I need my blobby paper towels. What did I do with them? I'm just going to go straight under here and backwards a little bit. Okay. This doesn't have to be neat at all. So now I'm going to grab E47. I'm going to go back over that and go a little bit further out. And then I'm going to use E44. I'm not going to go back into the center with E44, okay? Not completely. I'm going to go around it. I'm trying to blend this outwards. I'm definitely on the coffee this morning. Most days I only have like 3 cups of coffee until lunch, but some days I end up with 4. I might have to go get coffee in a second, y'all. Now I'm going to let you guys know right away that there will be, unless it rains really bad or something bad really happens, I never trust my plans to actually pan out. I'm going to, if all goes well, I'm going to be camping this weekend with my boyfriend. I said with my boyfriend. That did not come out right. And some of the bunnies are going to come with us. Pardon me for a second. I gotta get my vitamins. Okay. So there won't be a stream this weekend. There also won't be a stream this afternoon and tomorrow. And the reason for that is anytime I have plans to leave the house, I have to take it easy before I go. And I call that spoon conserving. So I'll be offline until, at the very earliest or latest, I don't know. I'll be back Monday, y'all. If you see me this weekend, that means everything's gone wrong. Okay, next color we're going to use is E43. I am bringing this back all the way to the edge of the darkest color so that it helps the rest feather. Okay, now E41. I'm coming around the edge. And then E40, okay, we're just getting lighter. And lastly, we're going to do E000, and then we'll be moving on to the microliners. I mean, unless I look at this and I need to blend it out a little bit more, but I don't think I will. All right. I'm going to hold that down for now. I might come back to it. So now I need my colorless blender. And now let me see where I want to start. I'm going to grab the smallest pens that I can from the Pigmas. And also the brush pens. Oops, sorry. So we got the brushes, and then we also have these 005s and 3s. I'm going to try to avoid using the black. I think I'm missing the pink, but I'll put these to the side. I am not seeing the pink. Okay, I'll go get that. I know where it is when I go get coffee. I'll grab that too. All right, so I want to start with the brown. All right. Hang on, hang on. Right, all of those are brush markers. So I'm push them off of here. So we don't have a huge color range, but that's okay. Okay, so I just want to come through here with this dark brown, and I'm just going to try to clean up things, and we're going to start with these tree trunks. Okay, so this is very fine point. It's 003, which is, let's see, it's 0.15 millimeters. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to follow the markings that I made when I colored it with the marker. This was the first point at which I was like, I think I'd like to use the FineLiners. So I'm just coming through. Kind of like that. You can barely see it, and that's what we want for this part. So I'm going to do that on the sides as well, just to kind of define the tree trunk a little bit. If you'd like to see me forget how to say tree trunk or what a tree trunk is, you could go back to the video portion, the part where I colored the tree trunks. So I'm not really outlining this, I'm just giving it shading. I try not to outline things. And then I'm just gonna come across. And I am absolutely making this up as I go. I just want you guys to know that. I think that looks great. So I'm going to do that on all the rest. Add a little few dots on the side that's coming from this direction. Now, on this one, it was so skinny and I was struggling. So I went outside the lines when I colored this, and it's very light. And you can see where it's like part of the bushes, because I colored outside the lines. No problem. Because I'm just going to create the shadow right there around that edge. And then I'm going to come through, add some shading, and then once I go across this like this, once I go and add these little lines in, you can't even tell I colored outside the lines now. And I use that trick a lot when I'm finishing a page, because I color outside the lines a lot. It's like I said yesterday, I think sometimes it's on purpose and sometimes it is not. I'm being kind of messy with this because nature is inherently messy for all of its beautiful designs and consistencies. Nature is a mess. And then I'm just gonna put that over here. And I can come back through these with some white. To create some better highlights. And I don't really know how this is going to look when I'm done. For one thing, it looks weird right now to me because I'm used to it being fully colored by the time I get to the finishing part. But I love to experiment. I like to have ideas and be like, ooh, I want to try that and see what happens. I'm gonna show you my hand shaking really bad. But instead of letting that stop me, I'm going to kind of use it to my advantage. I'm kind of bad. Like, I don't know if you've ever had experienced this, but there's this thing where when I try to make something look random while I'm coloring, like say I'm doing dots for stars or trying to add glitter or sparkle to something, and I want it to look random, my brain automatically converts that into, no, not random. Let's make a pattern out of it. So when you go a little bit faster, it helps with that. But also, like, I will purposefully work on stuff that I want to look random when my hands are shaking like this. Because that doesn't mean I can't do my art. It just means it's the perfect time to color something and make it look random. My life is about hacking the world, okay? I just, not like hacks like you see on videos and stuff. I'm trying to hack my world to make things work for me. That one's really far back. It's the smallest one, so I didn't even get detailed with it. I just let my hand twitch. Just let it twitch, girl. Just let it twitch. This one's one of the biggest ones, so okay. And I'm going to add that right there. That's going to be a little area for a highlight. I'll either use pencil or gel pen for that. I don't have a lot of luck with gel pens usually, but I have some really skinny ones here that I want to try. I never really like it when somebody tells me, "Oh, I can't do art," because everybody can. Even if your hands are just trash. You just have to let go of your perfectionism and keep trying different things. and till you find, oh, that works, you know? I encourage anybody who thinks, oh, I can't do art, to basically just give it a shot. Okay. We're gonna let that dry down. And then I'm gonna show you what I wanna do with the colorless blender. I don't know why I'm putting this up. I don't have many options for brown. So I have this dark brown and I have this light brown. Okay. I am. So let's real quick just do this on the boat and the little dock right there. So one of the things that I find difficult when my hands are shaking a lot, if I'm trying to get a really clean line, excuse me, I sometimes find it difficult to do so if I do a long stroke, like, okay. If I do a long stroke, say I want it to go in a curve, right? And I'm trying to color that curve and trying to do a long stroke, that made it kind of wavy. But let's go above it. Instead, I'll do this. Okay, that went awry, but can you see I can make a cleaner stroke if I go in shorter strokes over going like that, you know? I don't know if that made any sense, but that's what I'm doing with this little boat. My hand is shaking a lot, so instead of making the long strokes and instead of doing a line in all one stroke, I go back and forth very lightly, and I do short strokes that meet together to create the line. Does that make sense at all? You have to press O. Alright, when I need that pink pen, I'll go get coffee. So let me Another thing to remember is this is art. Nothing has to be perfect. In fact, the more imperfect your art is, the better. I know sometimes I can get locked into trying to create a perfect representation of the art that I have in my head or that I see in front of me. And I'll sometimes get frustrated. I used to get more than frustrated, okay? I used to get super angry. And I would tear my art up and throw it in the trash. But I used to get super upset because I couldn't make what I was trying to create look the way it looked in my head when I had the idea. The thing is, I learned to consider what the idea is in my head as a reference. It's not exactly what I'm going to create. It's just the idea that starts. Now, my brain can create some pretty detailed ideas. Very visual, very clear. So sometimes I get locked into that idea of I want it to look exactly how it looks in my mind. What is in my head is just a reference image. So once I started to think about it that way, I found it easier to take what is in my mind and create something similar and usually even better than what I had thought about originally. And I do the same thing with reference photos now. I've stopped trying to recreate everything exactly. That's not what art is. Art is taking an idea and building on it as you work through it. So this image right here, it was a class that I did. But the thing about it is that this doesn't look like the original image because the artist, the instructor who created the class colors, but she doesn't color like me. She doesn't color like anybody, and I don't color like anybody else. All of my art looks like my art. So if you're trying to recreate something from a reference image or something in real life or your mind, and you're getting frustrated because it doesn't look exactly how it should look, please take a step back, realize that it shouldn't look any particular way. It should just reflect your experience as you work through the process, because art is about process. And we all have different processes. I'm not coloring everything here, and I'm not outlining everything either. I am adding small details in that just blend into the background. I don't want it to look like I outlined it. I'm just adding some detail. That's all. Genuinely, this is my favorite part of any art project when I get to the end and I'm finishing it. I call it finishing because this is the point where I really just let go. And everything you see from this point on is just my own brain. And I don't know when it's finished until I look at it and I'm like, that's done. So we might not finish by lunch today. And because there's no stream, tomorrow or the weekend. I'm probably just going to keep going until we're done. Unless it takes a really long time or I get really, really tired. As usual. I know my hair looks kind of like ew right now. You guys, I didn't think about what I was doing this morning, and I put hair oil in my hair. It's a treatment that I do. I make my own hair oil. I call it 21 hair or something like that. Anyway, it's 21 different oils. But my hair looks ew. Now I'm gonna just add some lines. Gonna put like a little curve right here to look like a knot in the wood. Okay, and I'm gonna add some little textury details on the back edge of the boat. Alright, that looks great. Now we're gonna use the dark brown and come back around. We're gonna come around the edge of the coconut and also the straw. Especially up at the top here. It doesn't have to be straight. It's a natural texture again. And as you can see, like I said, I went way outside the lines here. So I'm actually not following the lines of the image. I'm following the lines of the color that I applied. Again, I'm using these short strokes and connecting them together. All right. And same thing at the bottom. And fill that in a little bit because there was some green poking through there. Okay, that really needs some work. I'm gonna come back to it. I'm gonna put some textury lines through here to kind of disguise this line. Okay, now I'm going to basically do the same thing on the straw with this color. This is the dark brown, yeah. And I'm making this really thick actually, because I'm going in to the straw because I'm trying to smooth that out. It looks a little bumpy to me. It's just a little bumpy. Bumpy lumpy. On this edge, the top edge, I'm going lighter of a stroke. And then I'm gonna make these little bumps out here. Right? They look good. I'm gonna come around this edge of the most inner part, and I'm just gonna clean this up a little, okay? Those are black. I was hoping I could find a gray. Maybe I have a gray in the shuttle art. Not in the brush pens either. I need to get some grays in the Sakura Microns because I really like them. And I just realized I don't have any gray. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing ever has to be perfect. Like seriously, have you ever seen a perfect coconut shell? I haven't. They all look very perfect and beautiful, right? I'm kind of creating a little double edge here as it gets more into the bottom area. I don't know why, really. I just am. Yeah, I really do want to use some gray, especially in the rocks. Well, if I do the colorless blender stuff before, I can use the Sippa brand. But I could also try and make this one work. I have this gray. It's cool gray. And I have this gray. Okay, we'll see if we can do something with those. I'm coming back across this at the bottom to make it just a little bit darker because, you know, there's shadow under there. Okay, now I'm going to come around the bottom edge of that. I do want to make that a little bit thicker at the bottom, just like I just did with the top ring here. So, let's see. I have this 01, which is a little bit thicker. The 003 is 0.15 millimeters. The 01 is 0.25 millimeters. So it's going to give us a little bit of a thicker line, which is good. Again, I'm letting my hand wiggle. Assist me in this. Okay. Anywhere where there's like ink in an area that you didn't want it, you can put like a little line there and cover it up, sort of, and nobody will ever know. Not even you. You'll forget after a while. Okay, so I'm gonna come through, just make a few strokes. And what these strokes are for, there's a line right there, and I can see it. So I use the no lines version when I print these out. I always try to use the no lines version, but my printer is a really good printer. I love my printer, which is saying something, because let me tell you, this girl has issues with printers, scanners, fax machines. But my husband found me a printer a couple years back that is amazing, doesn't give me any issues. I can clear a paper jam in it myself if it gets one, which I think it's only had a paper jam like 3 times in the whole time I've had it. So, but it's a really good printer. And I feel like even though I'm printing them in the no lines version, it's trying to print the best quality it can, and it makes it the no lines part, like the gray part, even darker than it should be. Like maybe I need to lower the quality. Okay, and I'm gonna come this way across it a little bit, up from the bottom. And sometimes this gets a little weird. Now, normally, like I said, I do this with colored pencils. Okay, but I'm not doing it with colored pencil now, right? So, if I do it with pencil, I can erase it. And I just saw a little spot that I'd like to erase. You can't do that with pens. So that is a little bit of a downside. Okay, and then we're gonna start work on the bottom of the coconut. Try to be real careful with this. I'm gonna use both of the colors, the brown colors, in this to do the bottom of the coconut, but we're gonna start with the dark brown. But before I do that, I can't take it anymore. I've reached for my coffee 5 times. So guys, I will be right back in like 3 minutes, and while I'm back there, I will grab my pink fine liner. Ready? Any coffee? I'm back. We got coffee. Okay, we also got the pink pens, the 005, and I grabbed the blue one too, found back there. This one can go back over here. So can that one. I also found my purple Copic multi-liner. Not sure if that still works. My purple shuttle art pen. Where's that? And these other two pit pens. I have red, blue, and green. I might use those. I don't know yet. Let's see. Is this the one I was using? Yep. I'm gonna start getting confused with all the pens I have on here. I'm gonna come around these edges. I like how that's looking. I feel like anywhere where I went, you know, outside of the lines, I just kind of go around that and allow it to become the actual edge of that object. I think my hand shaking might be making the camera shake. I'm sorry if it is. A little bit of cover on the top. I'm not gonna hit every area because I want the highlights to be in between some of them. And like I said, this is really just defining, coloring up, and giving pop to these areas. So my hair's bothering me. Be still light. I'm just gonna put it away. I'm putting my hair away. I mean up. Up, away. Up, and away. A little hair clip. I don't know about you, but as an artist, I always keep hair things around my desk because I never know when my hair is gonna start bothering me. Okay. And sometimes you just need to get your hair out of the way before you get pain in it. Right? Okay. Now I'm going to take this through the inner parts. Now, if you were here yesterday, you might remember that I was trying to make really fine lines here with my marker. And I was struggling with it, so I decided to leave that and come back to it with the FineLiners, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to keep it to the darkest parts with just a few in those lighter areas. And I'm trying not to overdo it. Sometimes I get into this and I just keep going until I'm like, oh wait, I didn't mean to do that and I forgot to do something else. A lot of times, even photorealistic art, it it's a matter of illusion, right? Because what you're doing is you want people to see something, but not everything can be drawn in pure photorealism, okay? So what do I do? What I like to do instead, or how I like to think about it instead, is that what I'm putting on the page, when you zoom out, right, um, is going to suggest shape, form, light, shadow to the person who's looking at it. It makes that suggestion. Your eyes and your brain, they take that in and they kind of compile it in there, and they inform the viewer of your art of what they're looking at. So you don't have to make it perfect. I know, the brain is wild, isn't it? The brain is so wild. I'm adding a lot of strokes down here in the very bottom. Some longer strokes through the front. I move my hand back a little bit. Okay. So I wanted that heavier concentration of these strokes over here in the front. And then I'm going to go back to keeping it to the top and bottom and in the darker colors as I go up the sides. Okay, love it. So let me grab this other brown. There you go. Now with this one, I'm gonna do less, okay? I'm just gonna add strokes. I'm gonna do less. I just want to add a little bit of color variation, that's all. Even in the front, I'm doing less. Yee! I'm so excited about camping. I really am. I'm so excited. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna do a little bit up here, just texturizing. Keeping it mostly on the outer edge. Kind of just making dots and scribbles. Okay, and now I'm going to add a little bit on the inner edge. Okay, and up here, I'm just gonna add some touches coming up from the very bottom. I mean, these are really small details. Nobody has to do this part at all, actually. You could color it just like I did and leave it. And then very lightly over the top. Okay. I like that. Okay, I'm going to come up here with this lighter brown, and we're gonna do a little touch up on the wooden part of the umbrella, because if you look close, that umbrella looks funky. Okay. Do I like that? I don't know. So, I don't know if you can see that, but there's definitely a gray line under there that I went outside of when I was coloring this. It happens. Let's fix it. Now, this spot right here is a little bit wider than I feel like I want to cover up. Let's get our colorless blender. And this is why we checked to see which markers will feather and bleed before we did this. I'm going to take my chisel tip and I'm going to turn it on the top. I'm going to start backwards from this, and I'm just going to push that ink like that. Right, I'm going to let that dry, just so that I can see how far it clears it up. And while I'm waiting, I'm gonna blend the bottom down here a little bit better. Yes, I'm all over the place today. It's just, it is what it is. E47. I want to blend this 49 a little bit better than I did the first time. Oh, that was E44. Let me put E47 there. Goofy. Y'all. E44. Let's do E43. Let's go with E41. And these E40s, they're kind of a very warm room. But when I get out to the lighter E's, I've noticed it's a peachier tone. So I'm gonna come in to this with the peachy tone all through it. That way it will kind of tone it a little bit. And I guess this is something that it seems a little silly to take a long time with. Or to focus on, but I enjoy the blending, honestly. And then E40. Hold 1 second, guys. I'm gonna try and actually turn my audio off for a second. Hang on. Okay, I hope you can hear me again. I decided that it might be a good idea to just start turning my microphone off when my children want to talk to me. Sometimes, not all the time. Okay. And then we have the E00, sorry. And like I said, I'm going to take that back over everything so it tones it. So come down here like so. Underneath. And this will just make the shade kind of match. Okay. And that just gives a pinkier tone to it. What was that? Put my foot on something. Now I'm going to run this colorless blender all around it. So basically up here, I'm using the chisel tip. And I'm just going over it like messy, like it will fade it. Same thing right here. Coming around the bottom edge. And then at the top here. And come around the edge. Alright, done with that. Now, let's go back to, I left that cap off the whole time. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Alright, what was I doing? Oh yeah, the umbrella. So that dried up pretty good. And now I'm just gonna go kind of along the edge, and as I go up, I'm bringing it in to be a little skinnier. So it looks a little funny right now, but it won't later. So we've got these little tiny spokes up here, and I'm just gonna barely touch them. See, the color's already underneath, so I'm just giving it a little bit of definition. Definition, not definition. A little bit of texture through the center. And over here where there's lines that I went outside of, I'm just going to come over them with this color, and later we'll darken those, lighten those areas, and it will look more like highlight areas. Oops. I made a little right there. That'll also be fine. Okay. I want to remove a little bit of that color right there with my colorless blender. Not the... There's some of the original marker color just kind of hanging out here. And also hanging out right here. Theoretically, this won't affect the pen that I just colored with. And that theory is correct. Okay. Do we have anything else that's brown in here? Okay. I'm done with the brown. I think I'm done with the brown. Yeah. Okay, let's go with the green for now. I only really have the one green, so in this size. I have another green in a different size. On the 05, I have two other greens. I also have yellow in that size. Okay. This is basic green, and I'm just gonna come through, and anything that I find that I just want to define a little better, we're gonna do that. There's a lot of green up here and in here, so we'll be working on that for a minute or two. Oh crap. I didn't mean to go on the flower there, y'all, but And I don't know if you can tell, really, but those leaves that I just did just look so much more defined than the ones over here. And I'm keeping this to the very darkest part of those leaves. So I'm going to do the ones over here. I love my coffee. So these flowers up here, I'm sorry, these leaves right here, they were supposed to be flowers, but I colored them as leaves, so leaves they are. Okay. And lastly, I'm gonna do that little clump. Now the reason I'm not doing the others is because I'm going to use a different green for each kind. Does that make sense? It's just gonna create a different tone to the whole blend. If I do every one the same, it will kind of start to look like I've outlined it. I don't want that. I mean, outlining is fine. It's just not something that I particularly do a lot. I try not to. I prefer to let the color itself speak as to what the shape is. Okay. Alright, I'm going to use this one, this much darker green, on these two big leaves. It's a thicker marker, so I'm just going to try to have a lighter hand while I do this. I'm just going to go through here in the darkest areas and pump up those strokes. I think that just looks so much prettier. Same thing over here. Okay, I'm gonna grab, I need a marker. Where to put them? Oh my gosh, in that light. Okay. I'm just gonna grab this YG23 real quick. Oh, that's too yellow. Hang on. My bad. Let's go with D24. That's really white. I don't want it to be really white. So I'm just gonna go whoosh, like that. All right. So now I'm going to do, I'm gonna do the palm trees right here on the inside and here with this light green, and then this one and these pieces up here I'm gonna do with the yellow. And these are the size 05. And 05 is the only size that I have these particular colors in. What did it say I was doing? Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna there's not a whole lot to do here. Okay, so same thing on this side. Okay, so now I'm going to use the yellow for here, 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 and here. I'm looking for something else to watch. I can't listen to news anymore today. TED Talks. At least I feel better when I listen to a TED Talk. And for this one, I'm coming on the up on the less green parts. See how that just kind of changes the color tone of it? I really like that. Take my hand if I'm lying. And the thing is, again, there doesn't have to be precision in this. There can be, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can be as precise or as flowy as you want. And that just gives it a whole different pop. I think I like it. Okay, I do need yellow for a couple of other things here. I'm going to come in right in this part right here, and I'm just going to bring this through the darkest parts again. Okay, same thing in these tiny ones. I'm not coloring this in, I'm just going around in the cast shadow area. A little bit, just a little bit. And I'm using the yellow instead of the orange because I don't want the orange to be the main color. I still want it to be yellow. I'm bringing this through just the yellow part. I'm going to come back on this particular flower with orange. Okay. And lastly, I'm going to bring this yellow into the yellow of the umbrella. Right. Now I'm going to grab my orange. My orange, I have a thin one in. So I'm going to come in and do this flower here in the orange parts. Okay. And then we're going to do the orange part of the umbrella. And I'm going to come here on this little edge. Okay. And now I'm gonna grab my pink. Do I have a purple? Yes. Now, these shades aren't exactly the shade that I colored it, but that's okay because they bring out the tone and they can contrast with it a little bit. Oh, the orange, I didn't connect it all the way. Right here. Oh, that's the pink. I need to put the cap on the right marker. Okay. Purple. And I know I'm supposed to go to lunch right now, but Okay, and now I need my skinny green. 005. That looks so good. Okay. For the bushes in here, I'm going to go in and add a bunch of dots. Okay? But I'm going to use this brush pen. So I'm just like really just going through it really fast. And I guess it's not so much dots as it is just wiggles. I let my hand twitch and then I control when it touches the paper. I'm more going up and down like this on the paper while my hand is twitching. So it looks like I'm putting ink everywhere, but I'm not. I'm coming on the edge here, just adding a little color there. Okay, that adds a little bit more color to it. And then I'm gonna use this 05 and it's really dark. And I'm just gonna come back in and just add dots only in the darkest areas. Chemical. I just wanna. I don't know if you can tell, but that looks a lot different than that does. So it's a lot of variation, and I like it. And it feels a little tedious sometimes, but I like doing it. Okay. the only place I'm going to use black is going to be here and here and in the rocks. They don't necessarily want to, but it's what I've got. But we're going to use 003. Alright, so I'm just going to come through real quick. That looks so much better. Alright, and now I'm going to come into the rocks. Usually I'm offline by now, so give me a second. I have to take my medicine. So every day when I go to lunch, I do that. Oh no, man. Please tell me the art gods saved me here. Oh, they did. That splattered. I'm gonna drink this whole thing real quick, okay? Lunch is over. It's not all I do at lunch, but mostly. Shadow art. We're gonna use this on the gray, and I'm just gonna like really dab in here, only on the darker part. Just Alright, I feel done with the rocks. They look a lot better than they did. Those were difficult when we got to them. Okay. So, purple. blue. We need blue. Okay, so I'm gonna come around these little tiny flowers down here, just at the darkest edge of the flower. So just a tiny little bit, and it brings everything up. And I wanted to let you know, I'm not going to be touching the sky or the water. I love how those came out, so we're just going to leave them alone. Excuse me, my nose. Peek. Sun is gonna promise that let me see that. Okay, I guess so, but on some days I feel like I'm trapped in a Can we give me now? Out of the dark as in the whisper. Okay, in the pink and yellow ones, I'm gonna come right in the center and talk over the Alexa over there. Come right in the center with the pink. I'm just gonna add that little detail right there. Okay. My playlist is jamming today, y'all. If you want to see what I'm listening to, again, in the box over there underneath me. And If you want to jam, pull out your own music, jam along with me. There's nothing that says art has to be serious, right? Okay. All right, I'm going to add a detail. I like to put these in all of my images that I color. I really do. So what I'm going to do is come right here in the coconut, and I'm going to lighten this a little bit in the shape of my little thing that I want to put in here. So I'm just kind of saturating the paper right here. I do this a little bit differently on every image. Sometimes I add it in the beginning before I even start coloring. Sometimes I do it right in the middle. I add it on my other art too. It's very important to me. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take this, it's our brown again, and I'm going to very lightly outline what I just lightened. Okay, now originally when I colored this, we put a kind of aqua color going on there. So guess what I'm going to put back there? I like it to be slightly hidden. Okay, last thing, my favorite thing. My white pencil. Where are we? My favorite white pencil is this Derwent Drawing Chinese white. And I'm going to come through, and anywhere that I want to pump up the highlights, I'm just going to dab this. I was going to try and use a gel pen today, but I really don't feel like it. I'm just being honest. Gel pens quite often frustrate me. So this also works to clean up the edges. Okay, we're almost there, guys. We're about done here. we're done. I'm calling this finished. Okay. The last thing I like to do, turn it over. I like black. And I write the date on it. You guys, I think. Okay. I really hope that you have enjoyed this. We ran almost an hour longer than we usually do. But again, I will not be back tomorrow unless my plans go completely sideways. And I won't be here this weekend. So the next time you'll see me will be Monday. Around like 8:30 in the morning, just like every day. Thank you for showing up with me today. Having you guys here makes it easier for me to show up. And, you know, here at Periwinkle Palace Art, showing up is like the start of every journey. That's how we get started. The next piece that we're going to be working on will be a colored pencil class, and I also have idea for the next DIY side project we're going to do. It involves princess crowns. What else do I have for you? I don't know. Look, have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. I will see you back here next time. This has been Periwinkle Palace Arts. I'm Princess Bun Bun, and I'm here with my bunnies to do art with you. And we did art today. And don't forget, perfection is your enemy.